Well, let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Yes, that's right. Today we're going to be talking about the most annoying things about Hot Toys. Yes, you heard me right. Today we're talking about the most annoying things about Hot Toys and 6-scale collecting. Now you all know that I sing a lot of praise for these figures, but let's be honest, there are some things that are just flat out annoying. But before we get into that, I do want to say thank you to everyone that is subscribed and is along on this journey with us. As I've said before, and I know it gets a little bit tiring hearing it week after week, but we are on a quest for 2,021 subscribers. And as of right now, as of this recording, we're just shy of 1,400. So thank you for everyone that has liked and subscribed thus far. Now I know there are people out there that only watch from time to time. That's okay, but I want you to do me a favor. 85% of you are not subscribed. So if that is you today, go ahead, hit me with a presumptive like, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications so that you know when this new content does drop. I certainly would appreciate it, and I will want to thank you once we officially get to 2,021 subscribers. All right, let's get into the main point of what it is that we're talking about today. That is the most annoying thing about Hot Toys and 6-scale collecting. I actually wanted to poll the studio audience, you, and put it on my Instagram story last week saying, hey, I need some help with this. Let me know the most annoying thing to you about Hot Toys. And I had a flood of responses come in. I'm going to be sharing some of those with you right now, and I will give you my opinion on those right now. Let's start right out the gate with that being the long ass wait times. Now, I've said it before, these are pieces of art, these are amazing products, and it does take some time to get these out, get these QA'd, and get them into our hands. Especially if you're stateside like me, having to get them all the way from Hong Kong over to here does take some time. But I think there is a major point of contention that we need to address when it comes to some of these wait times. If you're like me, you definitely like to get on the hype train whenever something new comes out and you say, oh man, this is my favorite character, this is my favorite part of my show, or movie. I can't wait to see what Hot Toys or 6-scale different companies do with this figure. And so you're hype, you pre-order it, and then you wait. As you know, some of the wait times are around 18 months to 2 years on some figures. And let's be honest, the hype dies down after a while. Eventually you say, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. And I think Hot Toys and 6-scale companies are really missing the mark on being able to capitalize on that hype. Needs to be an opportunity to try to speed up that process. Now, as I've said, these are works of art. They're not made by machines. They are, handcrafted head sculpts, hand painted. There is a lot of tailoring and a lot of pieces that go into making these things. I'm not negating that one bit. But perhaps one of the things they need to do is cut down on the number of pre-orders and get to pumping out some of those releases. Perhaps that could reduce some of the wait times. Someone actually said in the comments to me that it has not always been like this. Now, I've only been a Hot Toys collector for around 3 or 4 years, so I don't know what it used to be like and what some of the wait times used to be. If you do and want to be able to contribute to this, let me know down in the comments what is the shortest wait time that you're aware of Hot Toys collecting. But by far, the thing that is the most annoying to everybody are the wait times. Next up on our list comes to us from Fist of Murdoch. He says that the most annoying thing to them are the teases that never materialize into actual pre-orders. Now, as you know, we just finished up Sideshow Con, we just finished up the Summer Showcase, and a lot of different things were out and people were losing their mind over, such as King Shark, such as some new Batman, such as new pieces from The Mandalorian, and a bunch of different battle droids and prequel era figures from Star Wars. Everyone gets hype about those, everyone is saying, I can't wait for this to go up for pre-order. But there's a little bit of a running joke in the Hot Toys and 6-scale community, especially on Sideshow, is that it's called the Graveyard of the Coming Soon page. It is almost like a death nail for anything that is revealed at these cons that do not go up for pre-order. they are officially kind of put in limbo, and we have to hold our breath and hope that some of these figures are released. Yes, I'm looking at you, Padme. Yes, I'm looking at you, Baze from Rogue One. Yes, I'm looking at you, Cyborg. We still have not gotten any pre-order on Cyborg. We're talking about Shazam. We're talking about Vulture. We're talking about all kinds of those teases that never came to fruition. Now, on the other side of that, it does kind of gauge interest for the company to see whether or not that is something that someone may be interested in. Maybe put a prototype out there to see how well it's received. If they put a prototype out there and it's not exactly knocking the doors down and people are clamoring about it, maybe that's not something you should put into production. But one thing it also does is that if it never does go to production, such as the Vulture, then other companies and other third-party retailers will go out there and create it themselves, such as the Jazz Inc. or Jazzware Vulture that looks incredible. And I just saw some recent pictures about that recently, and it's coming close to being able to be on our doorsteps. So while these teases sometimes never do materialize and we need to level our expectations, if we talked about that before in another video, perhaps we are just on the cusp of getting them eventually. Now, when the original Rogue One characters came out, the Shore Trooper, of Jyn and K2, everyone was not really on board with it. But as time has gone on, the Rogue One wave has become extremely desirable. They gave us eventually Director Krennic, and now we're getting the Hover Tank Commander. So just because it goes to the Coming Soon page isn't necessarily the end of the road, but more often than not, there are quite a few plastic souls that will never, unfortunately, see the light of day. Our next annoying thing comes to us from Geeky83, one of my favorite toy photographers on Instagram, by the way, and they say one of the most annoying things to them are the people who continually complain about the head sculpts. Now, as I've said, these are handcrafted head sculpts, but without a doubt, anytime there is a release or anytime there is a reveal, there will always be the trolls in the comments that are talking about, looks nothing like it. Absolute pass. No way. Easy pass for me. And gets to a point where you're like, are you ever going to be happy about anything? I remember when the Mark 85 head sculpt came out for Tony Stank, and people lost their mind. Now, let me understand. I get it. You're paying several $100s for these figures. You want them to look as good as they can and as most realistic as they possibly can. Hot Toys does listen to those complaints, and they did pull that head sculpt, retooled it, and put out a new one for those that wanted to exchange it. But all that to say, the people that continually complain about the head sculpts get to the point where, what's going to make you happy? Let us know what it is about the head sculpts that you don't like. Let me know down in the comments. Is there one that you think that just completely missed the mark? Let me know down below. Our next annoying thing comes from my good buddy Dave and co-host of the Toy Aisle podcast at Order66Junkie. Dave says one of the most annoying things for him are the generic art boxes for Star Wars as opposed to the bright, vivid ones from Marvel. And I have to agree with you 100%, Dave. You and I have talked about this off the air. The Marvel art boxes are truly art in themselves. From the vibrant colors to the beautiful illustrations, they are just pieces of art that display really well with the figures, as I've mentioned before. And with the Star Wars pieces, all you get are kind of just the black generic sideshow boxes with the portrait on the front. Now, there have been different instances where they're starting to put the slip sleeves on the bottom to give it a little bit extra flair, a little bit extra touch. They've also started to put some of the artwork on the back. I noticed those on some of the new Rise of Skywalker figures. But regardless, Marvel is kicking butt when it comes to the art boxes, and I think Star Wars really could capitalize on that. Coming in next from Dork Lord Collectibles, as well as from Enzyme X, they say that display space and a place to put the boxes is a big annoyance to the Hot Toys community and 6-scale collectors. And I couldn't agree with you more again. Once again, these figures are a lot bigger than your average 6-inch figures. These are 6 scale. Some of these are approaching 12, 13, 14 inches. As you can see, we got Hulk right back there. He takes up an entire spot by himself. You got the Hulkbuster right down here. That is a massive figure. These things do take up a lot of real estate. And although they are incredible to display, you do kind of have a little bit of a finite option when it comes to displaying them. Now the thing is, I can't expand my house unless I wanted to add on to it, and based on the way my collection room is, I'm not able to expand any of these walls. So what I have is what I have. And you may be in that same situation as well, to where you say, okay, I only have so much space, but I really want this figure. What do you do? Someone actually asked me yesterday in a direct message, they say, are you ever going to get to the point where you have to sell some of your Hot Toys because you don't have room? And the answer flat out is Yes, I don't have an option. Because if I want to continue to collecting, I'm going to need to start moving some different things out. So although these are incredible, they do take up a lot of space. As far as the boxes go, yep, that's a problem as well, because although I've talked about it and will talk about it in another video, these are not investment pieces. This is not something you want to throw all your money in just so you can try to flip it and make a buck later on. But if you do ever want to resell these, it is so important to keep the box, and I'll talk about that in another video. So if you have these figures on display, as well as the boxes and all the accessories, where do you put them? Not everyone has the opportunity to throw it in the attic, throw it in the garage, wherever it may be. So yes, storage, displays, all those things are a very annoying piece, but I guess that's part of collecting. Our next big annoyance comes from AULZ, and if I happen to mess up that name, my apologies, I'm not a very good reader. But they say one of the most annoying things to them is the deterioration over time of the product, especially on grails and hard to find figures. And you know what? I get that. We put a lot of money into these. The last thing you want them to do is to fall apart and ultimately turn to dust. But nothing lasts forever, even cold November rain, as the Guns N' Roses song says. But there are some things that you can do. Unless you live in a very humid environment or a place that has temperature changes that go up and down frequently, deterioration shouldn't be that much of a problem, especially if you take the proper care to keep it in a display case, keep it free from dust, make sure that, you know, it's placed in a place to where it can't get destroyed or damaged. If you do those things, you'll find that your figures will last a lot longer. But yes, it is annoying knowing that you put a lot of money into something that ultimately doesn't last forever. SW Photo 4523 says one of the most annoying things to them are the lack of licenses that Hot Toys actually capitalizes on. Obviously their bread and butter is Marvel and Star Wars. They even have the license to DC, if you knew that, and they just aren't putting out those figures. It comes down ultimately to the market and what sells. Now personally, I think the DC properties would sell, Batman would sell, but they just really don't pump out a lot of the DC figures because they know that they're going to make money on all their Iron Men, all their Spider-Men, all their Captain Americas. So yes, it is frustrating knowing that there are properties out there that just don't get the love and attention that they deserve. I know there's a bunch of people that are up in arms that the Cyborg has still not been revealed for pre-order. Maybe we'll be getting that soon because everyone knows that a good team needs to be completed. Ish Cardona says that the most annoying things about Hot Toys and 6-scale collecting are the scalpers. Yes, it's true. Those notorious trolls always seem to make it into our favorite parts and aspects of collecting. But I think it's important to be able to differentiate what a scalper is as opposed to a reseller, because sometimes resellers get too much of a bad rap. A scalper is somebody that goes in, buys up all the stock to artificially manipulate the market that raises the demand up and raises the price up. A reseller is someone who buys stock and resells it, as it's called, to you at possibly a premium so that you can get them earlier. Now, people like Pop Collectibles, Toys Wonderland, they are resellers. They are not scalpers because you could go to another place and get them for retail, such as Sideshow Collectibles, if that is where you want to get your figures from. So although scalpers are super annoying, the scalpers suck, yes, but the resellers are just doing something that, you know, you and I do potentially, putting something that is available out there for people to consume. This final annoyance actually comes from me, and that is the Hot Toys batteries. And I could have sworn someone was going to say this when I actually proposed the question, but maybe I'm the only one that doesn't like this, but there is nothing more annoying about the batteries for two reasons. That being the fact that they are impossible to get in on some of the figures, and number two, those things suck. So let's talk about getting these into the figures. Now, as you know, they are very, very little tiny pieces. Some figures will actually give you the tweezers and the little tiny screwdriver, but if you're going to try to load up the Hulkbuster with all those little tiny battery cells, good luck. That's not something I'm even willing to attempt because, as I said, these batteries deteriorate very, very quickly. I think you can keep this thing lit when you put the original ones that they gave you from the box for maybe about 10, 12 minutes if you're lucky. As soon as you put those in an Iron Man, it's almost like he's dying and the arc reactor is just going, gone. And that's just the way they are. The batteries are cheap, and I absolutely hate that. But more so than the actual batteries dying is trying to get them in, and that's just something I will not do. From the Star Wars lightsabers to the Iron Men to any other piece, I do not use the batteries, and I encourage you to let me know if you use the batteries, or are you using soap reactors, different type of things to keep them powered. Let me know down in the comments. I would love to find a solution to light these, but I am not using the Hot Toy batteries. Well, that's going to do it for us here today. Once again, thank you everyone that made it this far in the video. If you made it this far in the video, let me know down below what is the most annoying thing to you if you didn't hear that read on the screen today. We will be seeing you in our next video coming up next week. As I've said, if you've not made sure to like and subscribe to the channel, please do so. We are on a quest of 2021 subscribers. Can't wait to get there with you.